بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. So inshallah, we are on the last letter of the Arabic letter alphabet, and after that we'll be done inshallah with this entire series. So today we're going to discuss is number one, how is the letter ya pronounced? Secondly, how is ya sakin pronounced with and without the mud? And we'll discuss that with what I mean by mud. And finally, Yalin and a common error that's associated with Yalin. We'll discuss what Yalin is. If anyone remembers Wawlin, it's basically the same thing. So first thing is, how is the letter Ya pronounced? How is the letter Ya pronounced? So Ya is pronounced very simply by raising the middle of the tongue without making it fully touch the top of the mouth. Once you do that, that's basically how the letter Ya is pronounced. You are thinking, what does that mean? So Ya is pronounced basically from the exact same area as a sheen. Right? So when you say sheen, what's going to happen is the middle of your tongue is going to rise all the way to the top. That's where sheen comes out from. The only difference is that in a Ya, there's a bit more distance from the top of your mouth than sheen. So in sheen, your mouth is actually a bit higher to create that sh sound. But whereas with ya, it's slightly lower than a sheen. So if you can do a sheen, imagine that going a bit down, and you'll have a ya, sheen. Sheen is slightly higher, ya is slightly lower. There's also jeen, but jeen touches the mouth all the way on top, so that's completely different. Here, it's not supposed to touch the mouth at all, so jeen would be very different. But anyway, ya is just like sheen, but slightly a bit lower than where the sheen is. Next thing is for a ya that's sakin that has a kasra before it. So there are three letters of mud. There's alif with a fatha before it, waw with a dhamma before it, ya with the kasra before it, the e sounds. There are two things that are different. So if there's a ya sakin with the kasra before it specifically, there's two things that are different. Number one, the jaw will be lowered more. So in a regular ya, you, ye, your jaw is not really moving that down. But when you say e, your jaw is more lowered. So that's one thing different about a ya madda. A ya was talking with a kasra before it. Your jaw gets more lowered. Number two, there will be less pressure between the tongue and the top of the mouth. When you actually say ya, you, ye, you'll feel like that vibration between your tongue and the top of your mouth. When you do a madda, it's not there. You don't feel that ya sound, that ya, you, ye. You don't feel that pressure that you feel with the regular ya. So all the yas are same when it's sakin in all situations, except this one situation when ya is sakin with the kasra before it. Same thing, your tongue, middle of the tongue will still go up, but just keep these two things in mind. Your jaw is a bit lower, and there's less pressure between in this little area on top when there's a ya that's madda, the e sound. Moving forward, a ya that's mutaharrik and sakin. So when ya has a haraka, fatha wa kasra. So after the middle of the tongue is raised to the top and that pressure is created to make the that sound, then you just release it and make the motion for whichever haraka you need to pronounce. For example, Ya Ibrahim, Ya Ibrahim. With a dhamma, yuqatiluna, yuqatiluna. Third one with a kasra, an yuhyiya. There's actually a fatha one too, but an yuhyiya. So we have ya, you, yi. Ya, you, yi. So your tongue doesn't actually touch the top, that's a jeen. It's very close to it. So ya, you, yi. Ya, you, yi. Ya, you, yi. I'm putting more pressure to exaggerate it, but so everyone knows. But it's not. There's not that much pressure in a ya. It's simple. Ya, you, yi. Ya, you, yi. It's not ya, you. I'm just doing that so we can hear it. But it's just ya, you, and yi. Ya Ibrahim, yuqatiluna an yuhyiya. Next thing is when ya is sakin, then what's going to happen? So if there's a fatha or a dhamma before it, then it's going to be pronounced normally, like the same way as above. Your tongue, middle of the tongue rises to the top, and pressure is there. Same thing. For example, or may sara, may, right? May. So that it's the same thing. Nothing. There's no lowering of the jaw or anything. May sara. But if there's a kasra before it, yeah, it has a madda, right? So what is that? Yeah, madda, e sound. And like I mentioned before, the jaws are lowered more and there's less pressure between the tongue and the top of the mouth. So for example, fiha, fi. So you won't feel that much of the middle tongue doing that much. Fiha, huwa sami'ul basir. Sami'ul basir. So middle of the tongue still rises, but it's not, there's not, the jaw goes lower. Because of that, there's not that much pressure anymore. So those are examples of ya mutaharrik and ya sakin. Last thing is ya lean, and not two common errors, one common error. Correct, one common error. When ya is sakin with a fatha before it, it's known as lean. And as I mentioned for a while, it's called lean because it's easy to say. It's easy to say. So for example, asaytum, asaytum. Next one, alayna, alayna. Third one, ramayta, ramayta. So what's happening? Ya is sakin with a fatha before it. This is known as ya lean, ya lean. Now when ya is lean, right? When ya, there's a ya lean as in ya sakin with a fatha before it, then the sound will start off with the sound of a fatha. That's okay. The scene has a fatha and asaytum. So you have to start off with the sound, but it's going to end up with the exact same sound as ya maddiya, as ya madda. So it'll end up with an e sound. It'll end up with an e sound. Asaytum. Alayna. So la turns into a and then turns into e. Alay, e. You hear e at the ending. Alayna. Ramay, ramay. So ends up with the e sound. Starts off with a fatha, ends up with an e. Ramay. So you can hear like it's like an e. Ramayta. A common error is that when there is a yalin, that's in ya sakin with the fatha before it, it's pronounced with the sound that's between a fatha and a kasra, known as a majhul sound, or more like an a sound. That's what happens. Instead of saying asaytum, people say asaytum, asaytum. Instead of alayna, they say alayna, alay. Instead of alay, yeah, alayna, like that. It's hard for me to do it. So, for example, one of the most popular examples in the beginning of Surah Quraysh, what's correct? Li'ila fi Quraysh. There's an e sound. Quraysh. There's an e sound at the ending. Li'ila fi Quraysh. E at the end. E Quraysh. What would be incorrect? Li'ila fi Quraysh. Or Quraysh is completely off. Quraysh is completely wrong, but Quraysh would be wrong too. Quraysh, that's wrong. So it's going to be Quray. There should be an E sound at the ending. Quraysh. So that would be the correct pronunciation when there's a ya sakin with a fatha before it. अरबी में कुरैश कहते हैं, अब उर्दू में कुरैश कहते हैं. वो उर्दू है, वो अरबी नहीं. Okay, so in case you ever hear any Qurras saying or any Makkah Haram Imam saying Quraysh, that's not, it has nothing to do with oh, that's the Arab style. It's not an Arab style, that's Tajweed. Right? It's Quraysh. That's actual Tajweed that's happening there. Yeah, Kayfa, same thing. Yeah, it's all over the place. So, alhamdulillah, that's the end of our entire series. So, in case anyone has seen the series right now, or will see it anytime in the future, now or 10 years from now, I ask everyone, whoever is seeing this, to make dua for our institute, for its success in this life and inshallah in the hereafter as well. And in case I have had made any shortcomings in anything I have taught throughout these entire series, then of course those are from me. And please feel free to contact us somehow so you can correct us for any of these mistakes. سبحانك